Welcome to the basic facts of the NXIVM cult. Now, you've probably heard of NXIVM because this cult is very recent, but let's go back to the beginning. Consumer's Byline.
I can answer that. I could be,
What do you say? I don't even know what to say to that. But
there's some. Admittedly, I am sometimes politically incorrect. I'm a smartass. I come from a very witty Italian family that all my life, part of affection was being a smartass. So I do have a smartass answer that comes to my mind right away. This is our credentials. We have sterling credentials. That we have no credentials in the field. See, credentials seem to be self-limiting in the field. So what credentials we have? We absolutely do not have any of the credentials, any of those certifications or trainings that have been used so far to treat the problem.
Keith Raniere was born on August 26, 1960 in Brooklyn, New York, to a middle-class family. Raniere's father, James, was an executive at an advertising agency, and his mother, Vera, was a ballroom dancing teacher. When Raniere was 5, his family moved from Brooklyn to New City, New York, where Raniere would grow up, but his parents divorced only a few years after moving there. Raniere has stated that he stayed with his mother because she had a problem with alcohol and that she needed someone to help care for her. Friends of the family have alleged that Raniere's mother was not only physically and emotionally abusive, but there were signs of sexual abuse as well. Raniere attended Suffern High School until he was 16 when he dropped out to go to college at the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, where he earned 3 undergraduate degrees in math, physics, and biology. When Raniere was 18 years old, his mother died. It's been stated by friends of the family that she died from complications of alcoholism. Soon after, Raniere moved to Albany, New York, where he would begin a multi-level marketing company known as Consumer's Byline. Consumer's Byline was a buying club that offered discounts to members who could become affiliates and recruit more members. Consumer's Byline would be successful and last 6 years until the New York Attorney General did an investigation and found that the company was in fact a pyramid scheme. The company was officially shut down in 1996 with Raniere signing an agreement that permanently barred him from promoting, offering, and/or granting participation in a chain distribution scheme. He was also fined $40,000. Raniere meets Nancy Salzman. While Raniere was running Consumer's Byline, he began a relationship with an employee named Tony Natali. After his company was shut down, he and Natali tried running a few businesses around New York, such as a skincare company and a health supplement store, but none of them lasted. During this time, Natali was seeing a therapist named Nancy Salzman. She and Raniere became acquainted, and the two started a company called Raniere Management Systems in 1998. The company was explained as an executive coaching company that could help white-collar workers reach their highest potential and make more money. But the investigation into Consumer's Byline and Raniere's name was still fresh enough in the minds of the big corporations that none of them wanted any association with the new company. NXIVM is an umbrella term. Since Raniere and Salzman were having a hard time finding customers, they changed the name of the company to Executive Success Programs, Inc., and began to expand their customer base outside big corporations. Due to this expansion of their customer base, they were able to recruit Sarah and Claire Bronfman, the heiresses to the Seagram Alcohol Company. In 2003, after ESP has grown into many different courses and groups, Raniere decides to give it the umbrella term NXIVM. That same year, the Bronfman's father was interviewed for an expose on NXIVM, where he stated he believed the group was a cult. The Striped Path. As more and more people began to take the ESP courses, a need for more coaches were apparent, so Raniere and a few others came up with what is known as the Striped Path. The Striped Path consisted of members who wanted to be coaches. These members would wear a specific colored scarf that they called sashes, which would denote what rank they were. The white sash meant you were a student who was training to become a coach. Yellow meant you were a coach. Orange meant you were a proctor. And green was the highest rank you could achieve, meaning you were a senior proctor. To move up in the Striped Path, you had to gain 4 stripes on each sash by reaching a certain amount of quotas each person had to meet, such as taking a certain amount of courses that could easily cost you $5,000 each. A certain amount of people you had to recruit to NXIVM, and a certain amount of EMs you had to go through to rid yourself of fear. EM, Exploration of Meaning. One of the many courses given at NXIVM was EM, Exploration of Meaning. In this course, you would explore one of your fears with a coach, with an end result being that the fear won't make you fearful anymore. But in reality, the course was designed by Nancy Salzman as a way to uncover members' fears, then use them as a manipulation tactic later on. One such time would be if a member spoke against NXIVM's teachings, but if that didn't work, you would be told that the outside world was influencing you, and that if you don't follow the teachings, you will be at fault for the failure of humanity, and your spiritual self will pay the price. DOS. By 2012, there were NXIVM centers throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Along with these came newer courses such as Jeunesse, a program specifically for female members to obtain empowerment with one another, headed by Pam Caffritz, one of the women who was in Raniere's inner circle. Another was SOP, Society of Protectors, which was a male version of Jeunesse, where Raniere was known to lecture about his hate towards women. And then there was The Source, which was headed and co-created by actress Allison Mack, best known for her role in the TV show Smallville. The program was meant to help struggling actors in public speaking, but it was really just a recruitment cover for celebrities. After the success of Jeunesse, a few years later, a secret sorority-like group was made called DOS, Dominus Obsequious Sororium, roughly translating to the Obedient Master of the Sisters. Only certain women were invited to join by other members of this group. These women were told that the group was just like Jeunesse, but that the mentorship was better and the women would be brought closer together. But underneath it was a sex slave ring for Raniere. The initiation process to join consisted of the women being signed as a slave to a master, normally whoever recruited them. This master was in charge of checking up on their slaves to assure they were doing what they were told, as well as making sure they gave their monthly collateral. Collateral. Even when joining, women had to give collateral to their masters, who in turn gave it to the Grand Master, which turned out to be Raniere. Collateral normally consisted of nude photos of the women, and sometimes even all their passwords to their social medias. All is blackmail to keep the women from revealing the group to the public. But in August of 2017, some members of DOS came forward to police stating that they had been branded with a cauterizing pen during a ceremony in DOS. But the police refused to pursue any legal action because the branding was consensual. A couple of months later, former member Sarah Edmondson did an expose with the New York Times, not only revealing that the branding was Raniere and Allison Mack's initials, but that the women were being groomed to be Raniere's sex slaves. The end of NXIVM. Edmondson's expose gained national coverage, prompting law enforcement agencies to begin investigating NXIVM. At that same time, Raniere fled the United States and went to Mexico, where on March 26, 2018, he was arrested and brought back to the States to face charges with other NXIVM members.
Let's go in the car. We're gonna follow them. Get out of the way. Huh? Lauren's coming. Lauren. Let's go, you guys.
Nancy Salzman was arrested for racketeering conspiracy. She pled guilty in September of 2021 and was sentenced to 42 months in prison and a $150,000 fine. Allison Mack, who was proven to be a master in DOS, was arrested and charged with racketeering conspiracy, racketeering, forced labor conspiracy, wire fraud conspiracy, sex trafficking conspiracy, sex trafficking, and attempted sex trafficking. On April 8, 2019, Mack pleaded guilty to all charges. She was sentenced to 3 years in prison and 3 years probation, as well as a $20,000 fine. Claire Bronfman was arrested for conspiracy to conceal and harbor an illegal alien for financial gain, fraudulent use of identification, and racketeering conspiracy. On April 19, 2019, she pled guilty to all charges and was sentenced to nearly 7 years in prison and fined $500,000. Raniere faced charges of sex trafficking, human trafficking, forced labor conspiracy, wire fraud conspiracy, racketeering, attempted sex trafficking, conspiracy to commit identity theft, and obstruction of justice. Raniere pled not guilty and went to trial on May 7, 2019. In all, 15 former members of NXIVM, including Lauren Salzman, Nancy Salzman's daughter, testified against him. In June of 2019, in less than 5 hours of deliberations, the jury found Raniere guilty on all charges. He was sentenced to 120 years in prison. Lauren Salzman, who was proven to be a master in DOS, was arrested for racketeering conspiracy, forced labor conspiracy, wire fraud conspiracy, sex trafficking conspiracy, and sex trafficking. Salzman pled guilty, but because she made a deal to testify against Raniere, she was only given probation and 300 hours of community service. NXIVM is no longer in business today, but a small group of people, including Mack's ex-wife Nikki Klein, an actress known for her role on Battlestar Galactica, believe that Raniere is innocent, and they are currently trying to get Raniere a new trial. But whether or not you believe that Raniere was actually a genius who was trying to help people reach their full potential, or that Raniere is a con man who enjoys using and abusing people, you now know the basic facts of the NXIVM cult. Thanks for watching.